Alright, this is going to be a really quick video. Currently, the Esper profile LIAN'S is up on Dislyte's actual channel itself. So I'll leave the link down in the descriptions below. You can go ahead and check it out. But for this video, I am going to primarily focus more on her skill kit, and I have figured out some of the numbers as well. And I will talk a little bit more about it towards the later part of this video. But first, let's watch all of her skill scenes, right? Okay, what the hell?
I will protect everyone's happiness.
Alright.
Safe and sound.
Okay, that's about it, I'm not sure why I was lagging a little bit. Okay, so I have some numbers for you guys because I'm a number freak. Anyway, let's take a look at LIAN'S in a little bit more detail. Okay, so based on the video that we just watched, we can actually extract certain information. So for example, we know that the recovery that she received when she healed herself from the recovery buff that she provides to herself is 856, which means that based on a 15% recovery percentage of the buff, her max HP is 5,707, which is extremely important because we're going to revisit this number quite a couple of times. So for the rest of this video, we're going to take a look at her support, not so much of her DPS, although I kind of have an idea that her DPS is going to be pretty much the same as Elliot in terms of her percentages, like just based on the calculations that I've done, which I will show in just a little bit, but let's not go into too much detail because that can be completely wrong. So now a couple of things, right? So she's actually level 1 and not ascended in this showcase at all. Not because she's level 1, but because she doesn't actually give AP to herself when she uses her second skill over here. So there's of course a couple of other things that we can note from this one screenshot. So the other thing that we can note is that the chance of reducing enemies AP is actually not 100% because as you can see here, we didn't even reduce the enemies AP a single time, even though it is entirely possible prior to Ascension. So I'm guessing that the percentage is probably like less than 50%. If not, this is just a very scuffed showcase. Another thing is that her healing is 342 per pop, which means that given that her max HP is 5,707, this actually has a base healing percentage of 6% per hit. And why I say base is because they don't tend to upgrade their skills during their showcases, right? So this is going to be like a level 1 skill. So I'm guessing that this 6% is probably going to go up to 8% at max level. And if you're going to compare her to Ahmed, let's say his first skill here, right? This heals 4% per hit times 3, which is 12%. And if this really does go up to 8%, then this is going to be 32%, which is really quite impressive. It's almost 3 times the healing of Ahmed's first skill, which is quite high. But of course, Ahmed's third skill heals for 80%, 8% times 10, which is insane. But still, this is his third skill and this is her second skill after all. So yeah, that's it for her second skill. Let's move on to her third skill here. So this is Protective Foam, and we're going to take a look at her shield itself, the Dream Bubble itself. So as you can see here, we healed ourselves for 571 when we got hit, which is about 10% of our max HP. And now do take note that just like her second skill, all her healing is based on her max HP. It's not based on your allies' max HP, whoever is getting healed. It is always based on her max HP, which is a bigger factor. Because you're probably going to build her with a lot of HP after all, right? Now, another thing to take note of is the damage comes first and then the healing comes afterwards. So the 125 actually appeared first and then she healed herself for 571, which means that yes, you are still going to be able to get cleave. So if your Espers cannot even tank one single hit, your Espers are not even going to receive any healing at all and you're just going to die instantly. So it's very similar to what Genie has right now, right? So one of the main ways that you can kill Genie is to just one-shot her with a Bion Dina or with, I don't know, a Strand Pin combo or something like that. So I have a Genie here. Let's take a look at her intense hit. It actually heals her by 60% of her lost HP. Now the thing is, this 10% might seem small in comparison to 60% of Genie's lost HP, right? Because if Genie has like 10% HP, she's gonna heal about like, I don't know, almost 60% of her entire HP bar, which is a bigger healing than 10%. But do take note that, like I said, this 10% is based on her max HP, not based on your allies' max HP, which means this could very possibly be about 30% to 40% of your allies' max HP whenever they get hit. So the big question is, will this buff actually protect your allies from an incoming cleave, right? I would say that about a 40% healing on your DPS Esper is probably going to protect him in the long run, but of course, they are probably not even going to survive in the first hit. So if you're going to compare her healing to, let's say, another tanky Esper, because I think most players are probably going to use her in a tanky setup, if that's the case, that 10% healing is going to look about 10 to 15% on any one of your tanky Esper. So it's not that impactful, but at the same time, this is going to protect you from most Ashley attacks because Ashley reduced 10% of your max HP But noting that Lian is probably going to be your highest HP Esper in your lineup, this 10% is going to override most Ashley incoming DPS, I think. But of course, that's not all of her protective form, right? Because she also has a shield buff and a defense buff. And I actually went ahead to draw some boxes over here to discover that her shield strength is actually 25%. So yeah, right down to the line over here. Now comparing this to one of our better shielding Espers, and I'm not talking about Laura, I'm actually talking about Clara. Clara is actually one of the most impressive shielding abilities in the game right now. Take a look at this, right? So Queen's Protection is a passive. Any excess healing shields your allies by 120% of the excess healing amount. So essentially when you start off the fight with a Clara, you're going to heal 35% of your allies' max HP. 35% times 1.2, that's about 42% of their HP in shield. That is how thick her initial shield is. As compared to this, it's almost like nothing, right? 25% from Lian cannot compare to the 40+% from Clara. But then again, of course, we have the defense buff, which makes her shielding effect a little bit stronger, because if I'm not mistaken, defense buff increases your defense by 60%, right? Yeah, 60% over here, as you can see from the Gabrielle's defense up buff. Alright, so that's it about her supportive capabilities. Let's take a look at a little bit of her DPS and why I say that the damage number is about the same. I mean, okay, honestly speaking, I'm a little bit too lazy to explain, but she has 150% crit damage based on this calculation, 385 base attack, and 577 critical hit damage. So that's how we derive at 150% crit damage percentage. And I do think that these 500 extra hits here are true damage because the enemy actually died within the first 2 hits. So yeah, something to take note of. So this is her first skill droplet attack. By reducing the critical hit from 978 down to her base damage, this is actually 652. And the base damage of her second skill is actually 385 like we talked about. So in comparison to Elliot, right, I'm actually doing a comparison with Elliot over here. It does seem like her percentages are very similar to Elliot at level 1. Like her skills are actually level 1, and that is actually matching up to Elliot's percentages, because I'm actually doing a little bit of calculation here just to compare and confirm whether the ratios are still the same between the actual DPS that she's doing and the HP scaling that Elliot has. And just based on this, I can kind of confirm that her multipliers are pretty much similar to Elliot, but it could potentially be a little bit higher than Elliot. And from what we do understand, Elliot is actually capable of doing quite decent DPS right now because he scales on HP across the board. And even without crit damage, right, he's still able to do like pretty decent damage. So I think she's actually quite capable of dealing DPS, especially since she's a healer and she's very tanky and she has like a lot of other stuff in the kit. It's just a little bit unfortunate that her third skill actually puts her in an incapacitated state, which means she cannot avatar proc, so she cannot deal DPS during this state, which is yeah, a small setback, right? But anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. How do you feel about her numbers here? Do you feel like this is good enough for her? Do you feel like she needs a little bit more? Do you feel like this is actually great? What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comment section below. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Derek Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.